My journey started at the Grand Old Royal Hotel in Guernsey. It was a place steeped in history, with stories whispering from every corner. I was a young lad then, eager to learn and work. My job was simple: keep things running. Whether it was a leaky faucet or a creaky door, I was the go-to guy. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a much more intricate and fascinating journey. The Royal Hotel was a world in itself, with its grand ballroom, countless rooms and bustling kitchens. I learned the ins and outs of the building, from the boiler room to the rooftop. It was like a giant puzzle, and I was slowly piecing it together. Each day brought new challenges and new lessons. One day, the hotel manager called me with an unusual request. The ATM in the lobby had malfunctioned and the cash was stuck inside. The bank was closed and they needed access to the money for the day's business. Could I help? Now, I wasn't a locksmith, not yet at least, but I had a knack for figuring things out. With a few tools and a lot of patience, I managed to open the ATM. The manager was ecstatic and I was hooked. The feeling of accomplishment was intoxicating. I had unlocked more than just a metal box. I had unlocked a new passion. When I was at primary school, at the end of the day, I used to go to the bike sheds and pick open the combination locks on the bicycles. I would swap the locks around to different bikes. It was all a bit of fun. It was quite funny watching people looking at their bikes and different combination locks, and then looking at a combination lock on a different bike. They all sorted it out in the end, but it was a bit of fun and just harmless pranks. Word of my ATM escapade spread through the hotel. Soon guests were approaching me with their own lock-related woes. Stuck suitcases, jammed drawers, you name it, I tackled it all. Each lock was a puzzle and I was determined to solve it. It wasn't always glamorous. I spent hours hunched over fiddly mechanisms, my fingers stained with oil and grime, but I didn't mind. The challenge was exhilarating, the satisfaction immense. I was like a detective piecing together clues to crack the code. One day, a frantic call came in. It was from the manager, his voice edged with panic. The pop group Buckfizz was staying at the hotel and they had locked themselves out of their suite. Could I, their trusty handyman, come to the rescue? Now, Buckfizz was a big deal back then, fresh off their Eurovision win. I was just a young lad from Guernsey, suddenly thrust into the world of pop stars and their dramas. I grabbed my tools and rushed to their aid. The scene that greeted me was straight out of a movie. There stood the members of Buckfizz, looking glamorous yet slightly distressed. Their manager paced nervously, muttering about tight schedules and missed interviews. I felt a surge of adrenaline. This wasn't a leaky faucet or a jammed drawer, this was show business. I took a deep breath, channeled my inner locksmith and got to work. To my relief, the lock wasn't particularly challenging. Within minutes I had the door open and Buckfizz was free to continue their pop star lives. They thanked me profusely, their manager practically showering me with gratitude. But the real reward came later. The manager, impressed by my skills and calm demeanour, offered me an opportunity that would change my life. He knew a renowned locksmith in mainland England who was looking for an apprentice. Would I be interested? Back in the late 90s, I managed to develop and invent a new lock that provided higher security. This lock allowed the deadlock to extend an extra 25 millimeters. It was so successful that in 2004 it became the new British standard and insurance standard. Section 4. Apprenticeship and London Calling. Leaving Guernsey wasn't easy, but the lure of learning from a master locksmith was too strong to resist. I packed my bags, said goodbye to the familiar shores of my island home and set off for England. My apprenticeship was tough but rewarding. My master was a gruff but kind man, a walking encyclopedia of locksmithing knowledge. He taught me everything from the history of locks to the intricacies of high-security systems. I learned about different types of locks, from ancient warded locks to modern pin-tumbler cylinders. I discovered the art of picking locks, bypassing mechanisms with delicate tools and a steady hand. I even learned how to make keys, transforming blank pieces of metal into intricate instruments of access. I remember when I was asked to make a key to a lock. Generically, this is called a church lock, but it's more like a castle lock. I made the key, which was very large and very hard to make. However, I was able to make the key to the lock, and the lockmaster of the House of the Key of the Church of the Castle was very happy. After completing my apprenticeship, I felt ready to take on the world. London, with its bustling streets and endless opportunities, beckoned. In the early 90s, I was operating a locksmith company with a partner. One night at 2:30 in the morning, we received a phone call to go to a car park and help a customer who had locked his keys in his car. We managed to unlock the car, and the customer was very grateful. This was back in the days when automobile locks used to be a little bit easier. I set up shop in a small corner of the city, ready to put my newfound skills to the test. Section 5. Mastering the Art of Master Keys. London was a whole new ballgame. The city was a labyrinth of doors, each with its own story to tell. I encountered everything from simple household locks to complex security systems guarding businesses and government buildings. One area where I excelled was master key systems. These intricate systems allowed different keys to open specific doors, while a master key could open them all. It was like solving a giant puzzle, designing a system that balanced security with convenience. I became known as the master key maestro of my neighborhood. Businesses, schools, even apartment buildings sought my expertise. I took pride in crafting systems that were both secure and user-friendly. But it wasn't all about master keys. Every day brought a new challenge, a new lock to pick, a new customer to help. In 1985, I found myself at the grounds of Winter Castle with my family. We were there for a day of landscape gardening, a family tradition that always brought us closer together. The castle was a majestic sight with its towering walls and sprawling gardens. However, there was one particular compound that stood in our way. We didn't have the keys to get in, and it seemed like our efforts for the day might be thwarted. But then, a spark of inspiration hit me. Drawing from my growing expertise in locksmithing, I approached the lock with a sense of determination. I carefully manipulated the lock using the skills I had honed over the years. After a few moments of intense focus, I heard a satisfying click. The gate swung open, revealing the untouched grounds that awaited our care. That moment was more than just a breakthrough. It was a testament to the power of perseverance and skill. It was a day that reminded me why I fell in love with the art of locksmithing. We spent the rest of the day transforming the landscape, knowing that we had overcome a significant obstacle together. It was a small victory, but one that fueled my passion for the craft even further.